Welcome to the Running Ropes Podcast. I'm your host, Alex, joined by my co-hosts. As always, we have the Mr. No Star Rating, Luke.
How's it going?
And we have the Rate Master General, Justin, from Chicago.
How's it going, everybody?
All right.
I just quoted Brian Alvarez right there. Unintentionally.
Brian Alvarez, you are not, though.
I am not Brian Alvarez. I got the ratings, though.
You do have the rating, the ratings man. So this is April 29th, 2018. Post-Mania season, I guess you'd call it. And I'm already kind of feeling like things are on a downhill slope.
Didn't take too long this year to get on that slope.
Didn't take long at all. It happened during Mania. Like, after that John Cena Undertaker match, it was like, that was the downhill slope for post-Mania, I feel like.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. Well, let's start off with the sad news of the period, which is the passing of Bruno Sammartino at the age of 84, I believe. I'm going to double check that. But, yeah, passed away last weekend, last Friday, I believe. Really sad, you know. Like apparently he'd been dealing with health issues for a number of years, and that this is just like, you know, the eventuality of it.
It's too bad. He was getting older, but he was a guy that it seems like he's always been old, you know, since we've been alive. So it's just, it was still kind of a shocker.
Yeah, it's rough. A lot of great things that came out of it, though, which was like one of my favorite things was ROH posting a segment they had from Glory by Honor night or Glory by Honor 5 in New York, where he comes out and talks about the crowd and about the Ring of Honor crew and everything. That was really cool. WWE apparently did a documentary about him on the network. Haven't sat down and watched it yet, but I heard it was very good things. But pretty crazy to like, you know, that to have a living legend pass away and like everyone knew who that was. Like, it was not just a wrestling thing. People who weren't wrestling fans were mourning Bruno Sammartino's death.
Yeah, he was one of the few people in wrestling history that, like, the course of wrestling kind of depended upon them. Because if you didn't have Bruno, you would never have the big WWF expansion in the 80s and stuff. He was Hulk Hogan before Hulk Hogan, basically. Mm-hmm. And he's one of those few people, like, if you take him out of the equation, like, the entire course of wrestling history changes. He was just one of the most important figures in the business ever. Yep. He was champion for like 7 years or something like that total.
Something like that, yeah.
You can't imagine that now. Like, if a guy has a title longer than 3 months, it's considered like a longer title reign anymore. So just that guy for that long, being the huge star wherever he went, selling out arenas. You don't have a star like that anymore, really.
And it makes you wonder what the New York scene would have turned out like, because I mean, he's the one that really blew up New York and Manhattan as like this huge mecca.
Yeah.
You know,
allegedly over 180 sellout Madison Square Garden shows in his career.
That's
insane.
That's according to Meltzer, that number's a little kayfabed, but still, you know, even anywhere close to that is still impressive as hell.
Yeah, and especially if you're selling out the same building, that's a lot harder to do than it is to hit a place, sell it out, and then come back in a year or two.
Right.
So he was just consistently selling out the same rooms over and over and over. It's crazy.
That's pretty nuts. And also, I'm really glad that he made his peace with the WWE before his passing, and it wasn't like one of those things of like, oh man, you know, they're acknowledging this guy now, but I wish they'd gotten him before he had passed, you know, kind of like Macho Man and some of the other guys. And it's just great because, like, they can actually acknowledge and talk about Bruno and, you know, what he did for the business and, you know, still have him there to, you know, validate some of those statements, you know.
Right. So it doesn't seem so ham-fisted or just, you know, false.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Have either of you guys ever actually watched any Bruno Sammartino matches?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting looking back at it with like a modern perspective, because his matches don't really do much for me, to be honest. But just like the reaction he was able to get from the crowd, every punch he threw, the crowd would go apeshit.
Right.
So it's kind of like you don't see that anymore because we require, we're so used to the athleticism and the work rate and all that. But he was able to engage the crowd with just everything he did. Yeah.
So yeah, in a lot of ways, he was Hogan before Hogan existed.
Right.
So. All right. Well, a true legend of the business, that's not here anymore, and probably will never see another man like him ever.
No way.
No.
Yeah.
Like the closest we came was probably Hogan. You can make an argument for, and even Hogan reached that peak, and then people turned on him. I don't think people ever turned on Bruno. I think people were still clamoring for Bruno to come back and do one more match.
Yeah.
Because he retired pretty, not necessarily early in his career, but certainly when he still had a lot left to give. But he
Didn't
retired.
hang around past, too much past his prime, really.
Yeah,
He made appearances here and there, but he didn't. He wasn't. Once he was kind of done with his run as the top guy, he kind of passed the torch and pretty much stayed away from the spotlight for the most part.
One of the few wrestlers to maybe legitimately retire and stay retired.
One of the few.
That wasn't forced into retirement, so many other wrestlers are forced to retire just for health reasons. I don't know if Bruno had to retire for health reasons or not. I'm not 100% sure. I think more of it was him stepping away because he didn't care for what the wrestling business was becoming.
And I think he wasn't. I mean, he's just not. He wasn't a carny, Like a lot of guys are just carnies, and they can't. I need that paycheck. I gotta keep hustling. But I think he just saw it as a business, and he knew his place in it and what he did for the business, and he was able to step away whenever he wanted to.
Yeah, very good point.
It wasn't a mark for himself, really. He didn't care about staying over, being the star even after he was done competing, like Hulk Hogan and many others like him. It's just hard not to shit on Hogan.
No, because he gives us so much ammunition.
He's the shining beacon of assholes.
And Bruno was, what wrestlers should strive to be. He was bigger than wrestling, and he knew it, but he didn't.
Classy.
Yeah, he did. He held it with a level of prestige, and didn't make himself seem like he was big. He was big as a wrestler and stayed in that domain. Didn't try to branch out and do, movies after the fact. He's like, no, I'm a wrestler. That's what I did, and that's it. So, a lot of respect for that.
Yeah, when you think of the guys who are their era, there was the Bruno era, Hogan, Stone Cold, and maybe John Cena, you could say, for the most recent era. Those are kind of the guys who kind of dominated their eras of wrestling, so there's only a small handful.
And it's crazy when you think about that, because there's other guys that just pop to your head as all-time greats, but you really can't say that they had an era.
Yeah, even The Rock, Rock wasn't the biggest name during the Austin era. Austin was bigger than The Rock, and he was always he always kind of played second fiddle to Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Triple H is a little butthurt that he doesn't get an era.
I think he's all right. Doing all right.
Yeah, he's got the NXT era coming up.
Yeah,
he'll be taking over for Vince, when Vince goes. So
whenever that happens.
Vince is gonna outlive everyone.
I think so at this point.
And Triple H's era might still be coming. I don't know if you guys saw him at the show recently, but he is jacked to the gills. It's crazy.
God.
The Roys are strong in that one.
They're putting him over.
Allegedly.
He's got his midnight workouts.
He's old man jacked too, which is scary. He's gotten a lot hairier. Big beard, lots of chest hair.
Have you seen all the memes? I know neither one of you guys are real video game fans, but the new God of War game, the main character looks exactly like Triple H, and it's just yeah, it's holy shit. So I think maybe Triple H might have found his new Mania entrance for next year.
That'd be pretty sweet.
I would mark for that.
I would mark for that too. I don't know if it may not be enough leather and motorcycles for Triple H.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's change it up to a little bit lighter of a tone. The Superstars Shakeup took place 1 week after WrestleMania. Quite a few big moves to both brands. I think SmackDown got the best of this, but we'll go through it and see what you guys think. We'll start with the first one, which was the United States Champion Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers going to Raw, and Jinder loses his first match on Raw to Jeff Hardy immediately. And it's that was a worthless title run. and just like cementing Jinder Mahal as just like one of the most worthless wrestlers on the roster.
And I wonder, it's weird because like I wonder what they're thinking with him now. Like, do they think that they can salvage him, or do they think like, we've got what we needed out of him, or it's just hard to tell.
I think this might be a case of you were given the ball, you didn't do anything with it, you didn't do as well as we wanted you to do, even though it's entirely WWE's fault for not, building him up before giving him the biggest belt in the company. And now they're just gonna let him like sink among the land of the giants because he's on Raw with all of this massive star power, and Jinder has nothing to really hold him down up among those guys.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a move to distance themselves from that whole failed push, I think, rather than actually trying to rejuvenate his career. Yeah, I think they've kind of given up on him, honestly, which they probably should because he hasn't done anything.
He's not improved. His improvements have been so minuscule that...
Well, the problem is that, like, even when he has shown glimpses of improvement, that never transfers to the next match.
Yes.
So, like, his best match against AJ Styles, he started breaking out, like, wrestling moves.
Yeah.
And then after that, back to rest holds, back to the same old matches.
When we get to the Greatest Rumble, I will have a key moment where I'm like, that is why Jinder Mahal will never be a good wrestler. And
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think we all know what it is, but we'll get to it. And speaking of Jinder Mahal, with the loss to Jeff Hardy now becomes a Grand Slam champion in the WWE, and the only wrestler to have held the light heavyweight belt in like every belt basically, like light heavyweight, hardcore, European, Intercontinental, US, WWE, World Heavyweight Championship, everything.
That's crazy to think about.
That is insane. That's a hell of a career for Jeff Hardy, especially considering the fact that he has had a lot of ups and downs in WWE and in wrestling in general. Like he's still
he was stepped away from the company for what, a decade? Like he was in TNA for...
It was for like 5 years.
Oh, I thought he did like a 5-year stint and then he did like another like 3-year stint or something.
Maybe he did do a while.
A little bit.
It was a while, but no, like he left like around like 2011, and then he was back. Yeah, so it was like 5 years.
Is that all?
Yeah. Because he left like right around the Monday Night Wars 2.0 and went to TNA. That was like 2011.
But he was there prior to that.
He was there prior to that. Yes, he was in the like early 2000s. He was in TNA for a hot second, like 2005, and then went back to WWE.
Yeah, that's it.
We also had the Riot Squad going to Raw. I don't really have anything to say about them. I don't care for any of them except for Ruby Riott. She's the only one worth a damn in that group.
Mm-hmm.
And they're already kind of becoming a stable to me.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I feel like there's a lot of talent in the women's division, and then there's these like the second tier where they're not as noticeable, they're not as talented or ready. I think that there's something you could do with them, but this isn't it.
Yeah, I don't know. Totally agree.
Yeah, I just don't know.
I don't think this group really gels well together. I don't think they have defined roles. The Ruby's, two sidekicks or whatever, are just kind of there as cronies. They don't really have like really defined roles in the group, so they kind of feel like a thrown together unit. So hopefully they can find something for them on Raw and they'll improve. But right now they're kind of just there.
Yep, totally agree. The big one we have is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens on Raw. I'm very happy about that because I think that's the best move for them. Like they went to SmackDown, they got good, and they had the chance to shine. But like this is like, let's see if these guys can actually do big on the big show.
Mm-hmm.
So
also kind of did everything they could do on SmackDown. I think for the time being, they kind of have faced everybody.
Yeah, they kind of peaked over in SmackDown. The only thing you could do on SmackDown was give them room with the belt, which they weren't going to do right at the moment.
Right.
So, the Fashion Police going to Raw, which basically means the Fashion Police segments are going to Raw. That's all you're getting with these guys.
Pretty lateral move there.
And didn't the Ascension move to?
Yes, the Ascension.
So they can keep the whole shtick going.
Yeah, the whole shtick will just move over to Raw. Both of these teams could be cut tomorrow, and I wouldn't break a tier out for either one of them.
There's a place for the Fashion Police as comedy tag team. Yep. Ascension are just completely out.
They're done. They're dead. They're dead in the water.
I just don't know how much further you can push this comedy gimmick, like unless you change it up. I mean, they're funny guys, so maybe they don't have to be giving out tickets every week.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I remember Backlash of last year, which we were there live, and we saw these guys, the Fashion Police, take on the Usos, and it was a great match. We were all invested. We were having a great time watching this match.
It was funny as hell.
It was funny. It was entertaining. It was a good wrestling match. And then it just, like, ended out of nowhere. And it's like, man, you could have gone 5 more minutes. This would have been great. And it's like, okay, well, you know, we got the first match. Like, okay, they're gonna keep pushing these guys. Nope, they've just been delegated to comedy roles. Like, the worst thing you can do in the WWE is actually be legitimately funny and talented, because that's all you'll be stuck doing.
Yeah, that's unfortunate but true.
So, Natalya went over to Raw as well. Good for her. There's some good feuds you can do with her, I suppose. Like, you know, Sasha Banks, Bayley, you know.
Yeah, she needed a move, I think.
And those two need something else.
They need something. Good God. Here's another good one. Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre went to Raw, and they're working as a team. So the joke was that they finally gave Dolph Ziggler his Diesel to his Shawn Michaels.
That's a pretty generous.
Generous to compare Ziggler to Michaels, and I feel like it's a disrespect to McIntyre to compare to Diesel. You know,
yeah,
because I think
McIntyre
at least drew once or twice in his life.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe on the Indies, you know, maybe, you know.
But he's more talented in the ring, and he's definitely more driven.
Yes. But I've been enjoying what they're doing with these two right now. Like, they're supposed to be the real wrestlers. They're sick of the nobodies being stars, and they're going to be the real stars. So it's like, all right, I'll see where this goes. This could be
sick of people being over while they're not.
Yeah, basically.
I don't know. I haven't. I've become a fan of Drew McIntyre since his indie stuff, so I'm going to give him a chance. He was pretty good at NXT.
It's just like coming from McIntyre, it sounds all right. Like,
but
okay.
with
Ziggler, it's like, dude, you've been being a loser in the same company for years. What are you mad about?
At least 7 years.
Yeah,
yeah. He's mad because he knows he couldn't go to New Japan and actually be a fucking star, so he has to be stuck being a nobody in WWE.
Well, he could have been a star. That's the thing.
He could have, yeah. If Ziggler really cared about being like the best wrestler he can be, then he would have left the company to be a bigger star in another company.
Yeah.
He's just complacent in his role in the WWE.
He's kind of always just been there enough, near like a push. Kind of just like, he's never been like a complete jobber, never been completely buried. He's always just kind of there, and he pops up every so often into like a main event slot. So I think he's always just been, the carrot's been dangled just close enough several times to keep him around.
He's the modern day Billy Gunn.
I'd say he's done a little more than Billy Gunn.
Well, yeah. That's a bit of a stretch.
I don't know, Billy Gunn.
He was the one.
Yeah.
He's never had a gimmick like Mr. Ass.
That's true.
That's true. Although he did have to kiss Sheamus his ass once. They had that whole kiss my ass match.
After he won the match.
Yeah.
So
that's a raw deal right there.
Mr. Ass Kiss.
Yeah. Speaking of guys who I couldn't care less about, Baron Corbin on Raw. Oh joy.
I mean, they got to do something with him. I don't know what you can do anymore.
I don't know either.
Moving him might. I don't know.
I really don't know what to do with him.
The thing that baffles me is that this guy wasn't getting over on SmackDown, so you're going to put him on Raw with the bigger stars and the better wrestlers. I mean, not necessarily better wrestlers, but like certainly the bigger stars, and you're going to try to get him over now? It's like, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, he's worked with some good workers too, and never really done that much. So.
Never.
No.
I've never been entertained by a Corbin match.
He's fine in like if you put him in a big multi-man match or like a ladder match, whatever. He's done pretty well there.
Yeah.
So maybe if you hide him in like a group of some kind, but they seem to be, he's the lone wolf, obviously, so they're pretty.
Right. That's the problem.
You literally can't put him at the stable because he's the lone wolf.
Yeah. Exactly. You booked yourself into a corner.
Listen. We want you to be a part of our stable. I can't. I'm the lone wolf. I would love if that was a segment backstage. Give me that segment. And I will become a fan of Corbin for a day. Book it, yes. We have Zack Ryder on Raw now because someone needs to do the job.
He's hurt right now, I think, right?
Yeah, he had like a small tear in his MCL, ACL, like nothing serious that requires surgery, just needs to rest for a few weeks. So happy for the guy because I don't want to see anyone get taken out for that long.
Yeah.
Mike Kanellis is on Raw. I forgot that guy was even still in the company. I like Mike.
He was hurt.
Showed up in the Rumble. I was like, where was he?
Well, he was also having his addiction. He was recovering in rehab and everything like that, and getting himself sorted out. Which good for him. I hope he does well because I like Mike. I think he's a good old school wrestler. So maybe they could do something, but I don't think on Raw is the place for him.
Yeah, he's got an uphill battle.
Bobby Roode is on Raw. Great to see him on Raw. I think that guy belongs there. He's a star. Start treating him like one.
I feel like Raw is more of a spectacle show, and that with that entrance, it's perfect for him.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Gable on Raw is a single star.
He's fucked.
Yeah, I love Chad Gable, but he's 5 inches too small to be in this company. That's the honest to God truth.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it's one of those things that Vince loves Olympians, but you don't look big enough, so you're not really a good wrestler. It's like it's so odd.
Yeah,
not really either. So
they'll probably end up sticking him with Jason Jordan again.
It's got to happen. Right?
I wouldn't be surprised if they stick him back as a.
Well, they got to. That's the only way to save Jordan. It seems like so.
Jordan might be beyond saving.
Yeah. Jordan went down pretty deep into a hole there, so I don't know.
That poor guy. Like that guy had to know this was career suicide, becoming Kurt Angle's son. Like he had to have known this wasn't going to work in this day and age.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That was bewildering.
That was bizarre.
Whoever came up with that idea deserves to be fired.
It was Vince. It was Vince. It had to be.
I stand by my decision. Vince should be fired for that decision. It's a terrible decision. Wrestling is past the point of hokey storylines. They don't need to be here. And certainly one of this wrestler has an illegitimate son, which anyone with a fucking laptop can look online and say, no, that's bullshit. That's not true. It's like, how can you suspend your disbelief for even a minute to believe that Jason Jordan is Kurt Angle's son?
Yeah, and plus, this means, when he was, training for the Olympics, he was in college doing the Olympic, or not, doing amateur stuff, and he was, sleeping around. Like, what? Isn't he an all-American boy?
Yeah.
Doing this kind of shit.
You just make Kurt Angle look bad.
He was drinking milk and,
eating cookies.
He was too busy.
And last, and certainly least, Mojo Rawley is on Raw.
Whoa.
Yeah, You might as well tie a cinder block to that guy's leg and throw him in the deepest lake you got.
What if main event got one draft pick and it was Mojo?
That'd be amazing.
I still think main event would get screwed out of a good pick.
Yeah, that's true.
God, I hate Mojo.
You could at least put colognes on there or something. You do better than Mojo.
Mojo is one of those guys where if I was booking for this company, I'd be like, all right, you got a year to prove that you're actually worth a damn, or you're gone. Honestly, They like this guy, but he hasn't done a damn thing forever. It's like, you got a year. Get better or get out.
And I think the
guy completely lacks potential either. He's kind of annoying. His gimmick really sucks. If you gave him a better role, better gimmick, I think he has some charisma. He has some athletic ability, quite a bit of athletic ability. I think he could potentially do something, but not the way he's going.
No, absolutely not. Him as an enforcer might be a good role. Like a bodyguard could work. Which a lot of these guys, these big guys, I just think his roles of being bodyguards, stick with more talented people and learn from them while hiding their weaknesses.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to that in a minute, where I think that's what they're doing with another guy on SmackDown. So switching over to SmackDown, the big one was number one. The first one was The Miz going to SmackDown. So that Daniel Bryan feud is a real possibility.
I think it's definitely going to happen. My only question is kayfabe. Don't these guys hate each other so much that as soon as they get on the same brand, they would go after each other immediately?
There is a thought, but yes, that could be a very good thought. But you could also make the excuse that Miz is turning himself around, so maybe Bryan has a little bit more respect for him because he's being a better wrestler, and maybe Daniel Bryan's just so happy about being back as a wrestler that he's not focusing on The Miz right now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in reality, you got to build up to their feud.
I would say SummerSlam. That would be the perfect place to do it, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe you could say
that's
that.
a hot feud, and I'm very excited to see where it goes when they do start having their actual feud, because I think that is going to be a big one for both guys.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think both guys are excited about it.
Yeah. That could have a lot of heat and be one of the hottest feuds they've had in a long time, I think.
Jeff Hardy went over to SmackDown with the United States Championship belt, so that's cool.
That seems right.
Hardy was always very good on SmackDown back when he was like really hot in like 2008, 2009 era. So that's a good idea to put him on SmackDown. Plus, you know,
he goes too. So
yeah, and you get those the younger guys with the veterans to help get them better. So perfect place. Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose are on SmackDown. Absolution. I don't know if they're still doing that or not. Because Paige had to retire, and she's now the general manager of SmackDown. So I wonder if they just like decided like, okay, we're gonna swap it in like Absolution's on SmackDown, so you can hang out with Paige or whatever. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not.
These two are as worthless as the Riot Squad minus Ruby Riot.
Yeah.
Another big one for SmackDown, Samoa Joe.
Big one.
That's a huge one. Because now we have AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Samoa Joe, and Daniel Bryan on SmackDown.
Yep.
That is a stacked roster right there.
And Joe it seemed like he was a guy that they were pretty big on, but they just couldn't really find a spot for him because the main event scene was so overloaded on Raw. So I think this is a huge move for him. He can immediately kind of get into that main event scene.
Well, that is exactly the thought process behind WWE, because it was reported from someone, I don't remember who, that they want to make Joe a big deal, but Raw is Roman's show. So Joe has to get off Raw to get over. Because
is it Roman's show? He keeps losing.
No, it's not. It's Braun Strowman. It's Braun Strowman's show at this point.
Braun's show, even though he's only on it like twice a year.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll get to Roman and his pathetic run as the big dog in a minute. A big NXT call up for SmackDown. They get Sanity, Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane. No Nikki Cross. She is staying in NXT to help get the women's division back up and going, I guess, which is fine. Love Sanity.
SmackDown, Killian Dane needs more bears on SmackDown, so they got it.
Well, they have a will there be a version of a hairless bear, because you got Big Cass on SmackDown. You know, is that?
What's a large animal that, like a Komodo dragon? I don't even know.
I don't know. Yeah. But Big Cass is on SmackDown, and immediately is feuding with Bryan.
He's an orca. There you go. He's an orca whale.
There you go. Yeah. Big Cass feuding with Daniel Bryan. I thought they were going to be doing the whole Miz hired Big Cass to keep Bryan away from him, but no, it looks like Big Cass just doesn't like the little guys, doesn't like the indie dudes because he's 7 foot tall and that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if this is obviously just a way to try and get Cass over and get him some work with a experienced veteran. And
poor Bryan,
Jesus,
comes back after 3 years. He's fucking stuck in a goddamn feud with Big Cass.
And there's really nothing to really sink your teeth into.
No, of course there's not.
It would have been better off if, like, Bryan just walks into Vince's office, Vince hands him a big old sack of potatoes, like, here, wrestle this. It would be about the same, actually.
How about just Daniel Bryan versus the Invisible Man? Like, just.
Yeah.
I think the Invisible Man might have a better promo than Big Cass.
That would probably be at least 3 stars. This match is probably not going to approach that level. So.
Who knows? We're shitting on the guy, but maybe Bryan will get some magic out of him. Bryan has done some great work before. So
yeah,
certainly.
But if he can't, then
if Cass can't be dragged to a good match, it's 100% on Cass, not Bryan.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate that we got to keep watching matches like this one, or great wrestlers getting put in there with guys like this, like Corbin, like all these guys to prove like, oh yeah, they can't go.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just use the matches you know that are going to be good. But
you should have to prove yourself before you get a push, not after.
Oh, absolutely. And it's also stupid of the WWE to have Daniel Bryan, who is no joke, probably like the hottest babyface right now in the company because he literally came back from a career-ending injury and he's back wrestling, and not immediately shooting him to the moon is idiotic in my book.
Or doing something better than this, put him in an interesting program.
Yeah.
Not this.
Not trying to get your big man of the week over.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what he is. That's a good way to put it.
It is. It's 100%. Asuka is going to SmackDown, which that puts the women's division on Raw in a bit of a tight spot. But, you know, SmackDown, they got some good...
Well, won't Ronda be on Raw?
Yes, but not sure if she's going to be on weekly, though. Might just be for, you know, every once in a while. Kind of like Lesnar.
Which I think is good.
Which is very good. So, but Asuka on Raw, maybe we can get a good Charlotte rematch eventually. Oh, yeah, Carmella cashed in Money in the Bank last week before this, too. So, she's the champion now. Hooray!
Yay.
Maybe we talked about that last week. I don't remember if we did or not.
We might have.
I don't know. Who cares?
You know.
Carmella sucks. Sorry, not sorry. Also, the team of Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows went over to SmackDown. So, the reunion with AJ Styles, which is cool. Still waiting for the full reunion with.
They're just gonna tease it.
They're gonna keep teasing it. For, like, fucking give us a Survivor Series match of the Balor Club with AJ Styles versus someone. Like, give us that fucking match.
Yeah.
Not.
I don't think they will, but hopefully.
Yeah. The Bar is on SmackDown, so SmackDown got all the good tag teams basically.
I was gonna say, I thought the Bar was doing pretty well on Raw. I think they could have been there.
They were great on Raw.
From SmackDown, but yeah.
Yeah, they were great on Raw. R-Truth is on SmackDown.
He's still there.
Yeah,
he's still there. He's going for his 10-year punch card. You know, make it 10 years, you get a year free.
He's kind of entered the primo category where he's just so under the radar. I think Vince forgets to fire him every time. So.
Well, I know him and he. I think Vince just thinks he's.
Oh, of course he does, because R-Truth's willing to do that stupid comedy that Vince finds hilarious.
Yeah, is he still carrying around a fucking plunger and stuff, or what? I don't even know what he's doing these days.
Well, you know, I think Titus got himself a job for life now.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, but like that, I think that can assert him a job for life.
For sure.
And the last one is a big one for SmackDown. Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega are on SmackDown.
SmackDown is immediately the #1 show.
Yes. I want a Jeff Hardy Andrade feud for the U.S. title as soon as possible.
I think you should beat AJ immediately.
Listen, just because your boy became a man, you know, in NXT does not mean he's ready for it to become the big man.
He just starts burying everybody across the board.
Almas beats Brock Lesnar next pay-per-view.
You know how we just said there's only a handful of guys who could, you know, define an era? Andrade Cien Almas.
But no, I'm very excited for Almas. I'm a big fan of this guy. I think he's awesome.
And Vega's great.
Vega is a wonderful heel manager. She knows her role extremely well. And has mastered the lost art of being a good heel manager.
Yeah.
So, she is awesome. Cannot wait to see what these guys do on SmackDown. So, all right. And now it's time for the Greatest Rumble.
Royal
Rumble. I apologize. It was not the Greatest Royal Rumble. It was not even in the top 10 Greatest Rumbles. It was an average Rumble.
It was the longest in most people.
It was the longest in most people.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you know? You didn't watch the Rumble.
I did not. I had not gotten to that yet. So I watched the rest of it. And this show was, well, it was a house show. Let me say right now, do we want to talk about the whole controversy about the Saudi Arabia in general right now? When we get that out of the way before we talk about the show, or what?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it would do it. I mean, it would just be another show if we didn't talk about it.
So, a lot of controversy within this show. Number one being there were no women wrestlers allowed at the show, essentially. I don't even think they brought anyone over at all.
No.
Which was a big deal because women have competed in the Middle East before. They competed at Dubai, I think last year. I think it was like Sasha and Alexa Bliss wrestled. But Saudi Arabia has extreme
conservative
laws
cultures,
about women wrestlers. As a matter of fact, they had a promotional video for WWE that had women wrestlers in the regular attire, and the Saudi Arabia Athletic Board or whatever had to issue an apology for showing those controversial images to the public. And just,
Jeez.
I think it sends a bad precedent for WWE for them to go over to there and have a major marquee show when their women wrestlers are literally not allowed to go over there and compete.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know that it was about the money. Like, of
course,
we all know that. I guess some of the numbers they've been throwing around is like upwards of $100 million was given to them by Saudi Arabia, and so it's hard to turn that down. But I think that the problem I have is there's a lot of people arguing like, oh, it's not WWE's fault because it's the customs over there, and it's funny because they chose to go, so it's not like they had to go and then, oh shoot, I didn't know that these were the customs here.
Yeah.
So they knew what they were getting into.
They absolutely knew what they're getting into, and like I said, I don't think the company is terrible for doing this. But I think you're setting a bad precedent by saying, like, hey, we really love empowering our women wrestlers. We're at the forefront of the women's evolution. Oh, but, if we go to a country where they can't wrestle, we're just going to keep going and not, change. Not going to say, like, no, we're not going to go there because, And also, I do love the idiots online who, were talking about this, like, oh, well, New Japan doesn't have any women wrestlers on any of their shows, and it's not a big deal. It's like, yeah, but New Japan literally does not have a women's division.
Yeah, it's not.
And there's all female promotions over there.
Exactly.
And
so
banning.
Exactly, and like they've had women wrestlers before, but they just don't have a women's division.
Mm-hmm.
So that comparison is stupid and idiotic.
Yes.
And so, like I said, I don't blame necessarily the WWE for going there because, yeah, it's a big show and it did big numbers and everything like that. And, at the end of the day, this is a business. But when for the past, 4 years you've been hyping up your women's division and how progressive and how big your women's division is in your company, and, literally 3 months removed from the first ever women's Royal Rumble, and you go to a country where women wrestlers literally can't compete, that sends a bad message. It sends a mixed message.
And it screws them out of a potential payday, and it's just kind of, I don't know, when your employer doesn't really stick up for you like that, it's kind of hard for morale also.
Yeah.
And they probably don't feel as valued,
Right.
Since this was such a big show and presented as such a big show and they can't participate. I would feel pretty slighted by that, I think.
I think we should mention also that if you guys didn't know, but Sami Zayn wasn't there.
Yep.
Because he's a Syrian Muslim, so that was the reason he wasn't allowed to be there.
It was I'm not 100% sure if he wasn't allowed. I think maybe they just decided that it probably wasn't a good idea for him to go. I don't know if they were worried about any implications about him going there or whatever. I just think it was a company decision to not have him go.
Right, and I still think that falls on the whole
No, it absolutely does.
If it's so bad you can't risk your people being there, maybe you shouldn't have gone.
Yeah, exactly.
But there is, I think, another argument that I haven't heard too much, and maybe to defend WWE a little bit, and maybe there's a thought process that if we go over there and we introduce them to this and they love it and they start to bring this into their culture, maybe there'll be some sort of a cultural shift through this where eventually women will get more acceptance and things like that. But
that is a great idea. That is a great idea in theory, but I don't think Mr. McMahon is planning that far in advance.
No, I think that would be more of something they would say to the women. Like, you're going to make more money in the long term, kind of.
That is something that Vince would sell to the shareholders, but in reality, he doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
All he cares about is the money.
But it could possibly actually have some sort of effect.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't think the WWE is going to change the world as much as they like to think that they are so progressive and they change how people think, but they're probably not going to.
Like we mentioned earlier about Dubai, if they wanted to have a big show, they didn't have to necessarily do it in Saudi Arabia. They could have done it in Dubai or one of these other cities where They could have had the women competing.
I think it was just the fact that it was Saudi Arabia, which I don't know. Have they done shows in Saudi Arabia before? Was this like the first?
Not that I know of.
Okay, but and it was a big venue, and it looked.
I mean, the thing is, it was the royal family has so much money, has more money than Jeff Bezos can count. Like, so they're just throwing money around.
Yeah.
So why I'm sure WWE's like, hey, if they're the money tree, we might as well go sit underneath it, you know, and that's what happened. And you saw the venue was incredible. I mean, the scale and scope of this thing was bigger than any WrestleMania ever.
It was fantastic, and the fucking seating for the royal family. They had lazy boys out there for the royal family to sit in like the front rows. It's like holy crap, this is insane.
Well, that's a hilarious thing too, because like the rules are that you have to supply seats for them, whether or not they come.
Yep.
So they never, every time there's a show in this country, you got to set up chairs for these people, and they never come. It's like, can you imagine if I was like, yeah, I put this chair over here for Jim Carrey to come. He's never going to fucking show.
Until the one time you don't do it, and then he does show up. But unfortunately, Jim Carrey would just be annoyed. Here, they'd probably lose your head.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
They also, the ones that were there were on their phones most of the time, I noticed.
That being said, I did notice during the opener, like, one of the guys in the front row on Hard Hitter's side, he was super into it. Like, he was a big mark for John Cena, apparently. Like,
there's one in every family, a wrestling fan.
Yeah, they absolutely would.
The crowd was really interesting, too, to watch, because, like, half of the first, like, 3 matches, there was so many people just looking the other way.
Yeah, like, walking around and just, like,
paying any attention.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
It was bizarre. But the crowd was into it, which I'm shocked.
Yeah, I thought this would be dead.
Yeah, they apparently loved the WWE there. Like, they were into it.
And they know all the chants and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, the venue and the staging looked fantastic.
And the fireworks.
It's like, if it wasn't for the ridiculous laws and customs over there, this would be a great place for Mania.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It looks fantastic. It feels like a massive show.
This felt more like Mania than Mania did.
In a lot of ways, yes. Started off with Triple H, John Cena. I'm not going to go beat by beat how the match was. It was basically just a standard match. It was a house. Every match that was here was basically a house show match. Safe to say?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that you were going to be a lot harder on this show than I was.
There were certainly more people. Like, it wasn't like your average house, but like nothing really was incredible and must see. It was all very good. It was an easy show to sit through and like just have on the background and watch, you know.
I think that like especially like this is a good example of a match where it felt kind of old school in a way that like they only did as much as the crowd asked them to do. Yes. So if they felt the crowd was feeling one way, okay, we'll give them a little test of strength. They're loving it.
They love the test of strength spot.
Yeah. So like give them what they want.
Hell, like they built the match around John Cena trying to do the 5-knuckle shuffle 3 times during the match. And you know, Triple H doing, you know, his mocking Cena and doing the suck it chant, which I was actually looking a little bit like, is he allowed to do that here? You know, like, like I was actually worried, like, is he going to offend someone by doing?
No, they were into it.
Yeah, but no, Triple H Triple H is a smart man because he went out there first, worked a smart match, and got a big pop from the crowd for doing next to nothing. So
yeah, I think since they weren't going to have Cena in the main event, this was the next best place to have him. Get him out there first, get the crowd into the show. I think it worked. Well in that regard. They had a very kind of by the numbers match, but they did exactly what they needed to do to get the crowd going. So
they did just enough to make it interesting and entertaining, and the crowd was into it. So A plus for both these guys. They did a good job.
And I liked the reversals at the end with that AA reversed into the pedigree. I thought that was awesome and just a nice finish. It was just seamless. I just enjoyed
Cena took a big bump too, going for like that diving leg drop he does. And like Triple H does like a power bomb almost, like it looked rough. It's like,
Byron calls it a spine buster, and then the other 2 announcers are like, yeah, it's kind of like a spine buster power bomb thing, and then Byron wouldn't let it go. He's like, yeah, the spine buster.
Shut up, Byron.
Shut up, man.
Shut up, Saxton. Where's Court? But yeah, this was fun. We then had the Cruiserweight Championship match, Cedric Alexander defending against...
Are you guys doing any
ratings? No. Justin, did you do a rating for this?
I did 3 1/4 for this one. Pretty good stuff, yeah.
Mr. No Star Ratings unit in
thumbs up. I liked it.
Okay, thumbs up. Okay. Kalisto versus Cedric Alexander for the Cruiserweight title. This is awesome. This is a great match, which made me sad that the crowd was not more into it.
Yeah.
Because I lost my shit during this match a couple times.
I really enjoyed it too, and it was like the crowd was so dead that I started to like lose my attention to it, and I know it was a great match because it was so fast.
Yeah, it was great. It was like seeing these guys wrestle on the indies, you know, where like they're doing their big spots in there. It's clean, it's crisp, and it's great wrestling, you know. And like sure, there wasn't much of a story, but like I was enjoying this match, and the finish was phenomenal. I literally jumped onto my seat, popped for this finish, where Kalisto goes for the Selena del Sol, and as he's doing like the flip, Cedric throws him up in the air and lumbar checks him. I lost it. I'm like, that was the greatest finish of the night. Where was the pop for that?
Yeah, they didn't pop for it at all. It was like
shame on them.
I think part of the problem is just that these guys are not some of the foremost stars in the company. Obviously, you kind of have to go out of your way to see them.
Yep.
They went out there and did what they did, and it was kind of just like, hey, if you're into this, you know, you can watch 205 Live or whatever. So
yeah. The crowd was not into it, which is unfortunate.
And poor Kalisto, that lucha chant is never going to get over.
It is a dead chant. Like Kalisto, just retire, man.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
Let it go.
Stop trying to make lucha
Just retire.
trying to make lucha happen, Kalisto. It ain't gonna happen.
Do you think Kalisto goes back to the locker room like with a Charlie Brown walk with his head down?
I do now. Oh man. What'd you give this, Justin?
3 3/4, almost 4. Probably with a better crowd, it would be in the 4-star territory. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
This is my favorite match of the night, I think, or at least co-favorite match of the night.
Okay. We had the Raw Tag Team Championships on the line against The Bar versus Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt. It's for the vacant titles because on the Raw after Mania, Nicholas and Braun Strowman vacated the titles because Nicholas has to go be in the 4th grade, which basically reverted that entire segment at WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year, to a fucking comedy segment.
Well, I don't know how much you would have expected like him to carry the belt. I mean,
no, but it's like if you're gonna do it at a fucking comedy segment, just do it at a house show. Don't do it at WrestleMania.
I guess the reason I'm not upset about it is because when I watched Mania, like I was so ready like for whatever. I didn't care at all what was gonna happen there, and it didn't offend me in the least.
I don't know. It offended me because you were wasting Braun. You were wasting the Bar. You buried the Bar. You buried the tag team titles by making it like the punchline to a joke.
Yeah,
You know,
nothing great came out of it.
No, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
So, but this match was okay. The Bar are fantastic and were super over in this country. I felt like they're way more over than the delete chance. Like that was not really over very well.
No.
Probably because the Saudis just don't get it.
I don't think that chant has been. I don't know. I think Matt Hardy in general has not been as over as he should be since coming back.
Yeah, because this whole thing's just kind of been average.
It's fizzled. And
yeah.
I mean, they missed their window for when it was really hot. And then when they finally pulled the trigger on it or were able to do it, they didn't want to go whole hog because Vince was afraid of what could have happened.
You got to get the whole hog.
You got to go whole hog.
You got to be hanging that hog. you got to put that hog out there. You got to show it to the world, and yeah.
Just let it dangle.
Let that hog dangle.
Yeah.
Also, the team of Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt, I'm not a fan of. They don't work well as a team. I don't think they gel right. And maybe that's just because Matt Hardy's been teaming with Jeff Hardy for 20 years or whatever, and like he's just used to working with his brother. But I don't know. It just these two do not mesh well. I feel like
it feels like a very mid-card tag team. They have the championships now, but like both guys don't seem motivated. They don't seem like they give a shit. They're kind of not where they want to be, so it doesn't really feel like a good fit for either guy.
And I feel like we say this a lot to each other about Bray Wyatt. Like he's a guy, and every time he has a feud, it's like what we know he's talented, but every time he has a feud, it's just brutal to bear. Like the last few things he's been with Finn, that was awful.
Yep.
This stuff is, I mean, everything he touches is less. It just turns into like Cajun spice shit. Just awful.
And also, I'm annoyed that with this whole Lake of Resurrection at the Ultimate Deletion thing, like, okay, so you're gonna bring back Wyatt, like, it's like maybe like a little bit less of the supernatural character. Like, how are you gonna bring him back? It's like, oh no, he's the same exact character. He's just a babyface now. It's like, for fuck's sake. Like, what was, it's just, you had an easy opportunity to turn him back into like the old school Bray Wyatt, where he's, a cult leader, but not like spooky supernatural shit, and you don't do it. It's just stupid. But Hardy and Matt win. I don't want them to hold the belts for long. Give the Revival a real push and put them as the tag team champions, for God's sakes.
I don't think they're going to do anything with the Revival.
Probably not, because what could you do with the best old school tag team that's been around in the last 10 years?
The question is, how do you pardon the pun, but how do you revive their push? Like,
you make them start taking people out, like they were in NXT, where they just keep injuring people. I don't know, something maybe.
They've got to be put in a position where they can show what they can do. You got to let them have a 15-minute match, which they're not going to do.
No, of course not, because you need more segments for Roman Reigns to be out there and Michael Cole to yell the big dog.
Big dog.
Big dog. Take a shot every time Michael Cole says that. You'd be drunk by the end of the hour 2.
Yeah.
Then we had the worst match of the night. The United States Championship. Jeff Hardy, defending against Jinder Mahal.
I literally remember one moment of this match.
This was a boring ass match. They did nothing special. And then the moment of the night.
No,
that summarizes.
Not quite.
Okay, but one of the moment that summarizes everything wrong with Jinder Mahal's career. Jeff Hardy goes up, does the whisper in the wind, which he did 1,000 times. Mahal is bent over selling the setup for the move, that he misses his cue to stand up and take the move. So he stands there the last second, sees Hardy go over him, stands there for a split second, and then just flops on his
bump.
Takes a bump. Now he's on Twitter. He's like, "Oh, I was playing possum." No, you weren't. You fucking idiot. You missed your cue, and instead of being a goddamn professional and saying he missed, let me just do something else and move the match along and do something. Maybe we repeat the spot again or something like that. Blah blah. No, I'm gonna fucking sell it because that's what the script tells me to do.
Yeah.
That
wasn't playing possum.
Yeah. This is why Jinder Mahal is the worst fucking wrestler in the world right now, because of shit like this. You cannot be a former WWE champion and have fucking screw-ups like this in a big show like this. You look like a fucking joke. You make wrestling look like a joke because you don't know how the fuck to improvise on the fly. You fucking idiot. Well, this pissed me off.
This was pretty bad because, it's bad when the commentary team there's nothing they can do to recover for you. And, if they throw you under the bus, you botch pretty hard.
Yeah.
And so this was... He takes, like you explained it, he takes this bump, and then, even the announcers, I think Corey was like, oh, I think he was playing possum there. Well, then he immediately goes back to getting beat up by Jeff Hardy. It's like, well, it would have been fine if you take this bump, sure, you botch, whatever. But then you're like, okay, I'll scramble and get on offense because I was playing possum, but he didn't do that. So it was just clearly a horrible, horrible botch.
Yeah.
One of the worst I've seen in a long time. Well, until later in the
match. Yeah, until... I just get giddy thinking about the next one.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you give this match, Justin?
Well, I gave the previous match because I didn't rate that yet.
Sorry.
Quarter. It was kind of house showy, but not bad. This match, I'd give this 3/4 of a star, maybe. It was terrible. At least that one spot entertained me enough to not completely dismiss it, but
Okay.
It was pretty rough.
Then they had something kind of interesting, which was they had a long intermission for the prayer time for the Saudi Arabia people, which I thought was very, 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 very polite of the WWE to do that. And I
don't think they had a choice,
right? But still, just to not just be go to video package, but actually try to keep the show going a little bit while they give time for these people to have their prayer was a nice thing, I think. Yeah. Did you guys watch any of this stuff, or did you?
I skipped all this shit.
Yep.
Okay. The biggest thing was Jericho had a promo and he put some guy on the list.
So wait, okay, this I didn't see. Jericho was on the show
He was
prior to being
yes, he was in a backstage segment.
Okay,
Oh, okay. That kind of...
that's confusing.
Because it was a surprise when he entered the Rumble, which we'll talk about later, and I thought that was supposed to be a complete shock.
No, they
That's
announced
what I
him for the
thought,
show. Like that's the thing. Like he was kind of annoyed by that. He's like he wanted to be a surprise, but
Well, and what happens in the match later is they played it off like it was this big, shocking reveal. So
nope, it wasn't. We come back with the SmackDown Tag Team Champions on the line. The Bludgeon Brothers versus the Usos. Very basic match. Usos get some fire early. Bludgeon Brothers take over and kill them. This was met by crickets in this match.
story of the Bludgeon Brothers, man.
It is, man. I feel like they put them on the worst time. Like they're not putting them out there when the crowd is hot. Like they're putting out there when the crowd is like, mild at best.
Mm-hmm.
But now that's kind of become their norm. So I think now, just by virtue of no one being excited about them on previous shows, whether it's the spot or their booking or whatever, but now they kind of got that feel to them,
yeah.
And so it's hard to get excited about them, even if they are put in a good spot.
That's a good point.
That's a really good point. Very average match, but just nothing to it really.
Yeah.
Squash.
Skip it.
Skip.
Yep.
Yeah.
Two stars. That might be generous.
Yep. Ladder match for the IC title. Rollins defending against Finn Balor, Joe, and The Miz. This was pretty good.
Yeah.
This was probably my match of the night. They played it safe. They took quite a few, bigger bumps on the ladder, but like nothing too insane. Really enjoyed it. Joe looked like a monster. Balor did a ton to everyone and really got to shine a lot. And they had a pretty cool finish with Rollins stealing the belt, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep, stealing it from Finn.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get a feud between the two of them, which would be cool.
That's kind of what they seem to be building towards, and especially since they've taken Joe and Miz out of that whole equation, it makes sense for them to keep going forward.
Did you guys catch Rollins busting open Balor at the finish? When he pulled the belt down, like one of the belt plates nicked him at the end. Like that's why he had that cut.
Ow.
I didn't notice it. Brooke was the one that pointed out. It's like, oh yeah, he got hit right there. It's like, wait, what? It's like, no, watch. It's like, boom. It's like, holy crap, he did. It's like,
that would suck, dude.
Yeah, it would really suck.
Literally the last spot of the match.
Although it looked great because like Balor's like suddenly he's holding the blood from like his eye because it hurts like hell, and he's like holding his head like down with in his hands, so like it looks like he's like so upset, and it's like, oh, it kind of worked for the finish.
Nice.
They unintentionally lent credibility to the belt shot spot.
Yeah, they did. But good match. I really enjoyed it. Was missing a little bit more of that intensity to make it a great ladder match, but still very fun.
And it wasn't very spotty. It was more story-based than a lot of the ladder matches you see in WWE. Nothing too crazy or too dangerous, really. But it was a good match.
Probably like the scariest spot was Joe taking a skull crusher from down on a ladder. And he hit that ladder pretty hard.
I gave this 3 3/4. This was probably my co-match of the night, but Kalisto's kind of my boy, so I kind of like the Kalisto match the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have anything to add, Luke?
No, somehow I missed this match.
What?
Well, I watched this show over 2 days, so I must have, when I clicked it back on, it must have just jumped right over it.
Must have, okay. We had a couple of the trainees from the Saudi Arabia tryout. They cut hometown promos, which is fine.
Yeah.
The Daivari brothers came out, which is kind of cool. Saying the Daivari brothers, like this was like the first time they've ever been in a ring together, I guess.
Oh wow, that's weird. That's kind of crazy to think.
Yeah, like I'm not sure if this is the first time they've ever been in a WWE ring together, or like in general. Like I find it hard to believe these guys were never in a ring together, but someone online said it was. So they cut a pro-Iran promo, which again, like I'm like, are they allowed to do this? Like, are they gonna get like fucking killed for this? Like I don't know the customs. Like I don't know how serious it is there.
Yeah, really.
And the trainees kicked their ass and sent them packing. Yay, hometown guys. Yeah. Nothing really to talk about from this segment. Then we had AJ Styles defending against Nakamura. What do you guys think of Nakamura's new theme song?
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan.
I dig it.
I was kind of hoping like with him turning heel, he'd do away with the violins and make it more like aggressive. I don't know.
Well, I thought that's what they tried to do, but I don't know. I wasn't in there.
I don't like the lyrics.
Yeah, I don't know. And it wasn't just because it was sung in Japanese. It was like I wouldn't want to hear that from English singing
No,
either.
no.
I wasn't a big fan of it.
Not digging it.
But I understand they don't want him to be super over because his entrance makes
Right.
him that.
Hell, I had an idea like how they should have done it. It's like, they bring him out for the first time after turning heel, have like the violin guy doing it or whatever, and have Nakamura walk out, breaks the violin, just like, no violin, and like that's when he debuts like the more aggressive theme song. I don't know, something like that. Just give him extra heat, because he's a heel now, so he doesn't want people to, singing to his song, or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It actually feels like more of a face entrance, really.
Yeah.
Because he's actually more hyped up when he's like walking out there. He's doing more dance moves and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he seems more like a face actually.
Yeah. So the match was good. I felt it was maybe a little bit better than their Mania match because they had more aggression and more of a story this time because Nakamura is the dastardly heel now. When I feel like they're holding back until like the big blow off for their feud. So I think that's what the case is here. I do love the fact that the entire feud is built around Nakamura just punching AJ in the dick.
They love that storyline. That's one of their favorites.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
But also, I just love the fact that Nakamura doesn't just go for a little blow. He goes for like the Hadouken to hell, Like, my God.
Yeah, I thought this match was better than their Mania match, going along better than their Mania match.
Yeah.
Obviously, it leaves you with a lot left, like you want to see a better finish.
Mm-hmm.
But I was enjoying the hell out of this match. I was like, okay, this is what I wanted to see at Mania, because you saw a lot more of those strikes.
Yep.
And, yeah, it was a more vicious match.
And then we get a count out. And not even a good count out, like where they're like wild and crazy brawl. It's like, it's just average working over in the crowd or on the outside, and then 10 count, it's over.
Yeah, the bell rang, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
I guess that's the match.
It seemed like they were just waiting for the 10 count.
It very much felt like they were just like, okay, well, time that to count out. So,
better than that, you can even do a double pin, like whatever, like do something different. Have a run in, I don't care. Just don't do that.
Hello.
Our AOL.
Yeah.
Nope, that was just a notification on my computer. Sorry.
Real professional, Justin. Come on, man. We're trying to run a professional podcast here, and it's it's shit like that that's holding us back.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we before we were so rudely interrupted by the unprofessionalism over there?
I don't remember actually. Derailed now.
I think that's the sound to
wrap it up.
Move on to the casket match.
AJ laid out Nakamura at the end of the match, so there you go. What'd you give it, Justin?
3.5, but I did enjoy this a lot better than their Mania match. I thought, like, if they had this same match at Mania with a finish, it would have came off a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I get that they're holding back for, like, a bigger blow-off or whatever, but I'm definitely of the opinion you can have a kick-ass balls-to-the-wall match and just tell a different story in a future match. I don't like this holding back.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like, they hold back for these guys, but they don't hold back for Roman and Brock.
Oh, we'll get to that.
6 F5s. We need it, but wait till the next match. Like,
yeah.
What else can you do?
Yeah, no shit. Casket match, Undertaker versus Rusev. Rusev Day, pretty got a big pop for.
Yeah, he's over.
From over. Taker, it's always awesome seeing him.
Taker was way over.
Yep. This was pretty much what you'd expect. It was like 10 minutes. Rusev was afraid of Taker. Taker got his going. Rusev got quite a lot in here.
Really? I thought he didn't get much.
He got the accolade. He got more than Cena.
Yeah.
I thought he was on offense more than not, honestly.
I mean, he got the side kick. He did his spinning heel kick, and then he got the accolade, and that was about it.
He got a little bit in.
Pretty good early in the match, though.
Yeah.
And I don't know. For me, this didn't do anything for me.
No, it really didn't.
Rusev coming off as a scaredy cat, and
yeah.
It was pretty much just to get Taker on the show and have a big star on the show.
Yeah.
But it's weird that you would choose one of the guys who's most over in your company to just
because he's not over because of their choice. The WWE didn't get him over, so he's not over in their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Scary spot in this match though was Aiden English taking a tombstone.
Oh,
his
yeah.
head like bounced off.
Yeah,
I was
holy
like,
hell.
It looked amazing.
I
hope he's okay, but that looked awesome.
I've heard he's okay, but then like I don't know. I've heard like mixed things. So I hope he's okay, but otherwise it looked fucking fantastic.
The thing is, like, if we've reached the point where Taker can't be doing his tombstone, there's not much left for him, you know, because he can't do the last ride.
No, he can't. God.
So the chokeslam is really is number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chokeslam at least looked pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially the one in English looked pretty
Yeah,
good.
it did look great.
Yeah.
What'd you give it, Justin?
2.5. I actually thought this was decent. It was a better pace than I expected. I expected a lot more stalling and playing to the crowd type stuff. But yeah, this was fine.
Okay. And then we got some crazy fireworks. Like Taker was leaving, and then just 4th of July happened. It was crazy how much money they spent on these fireworks.
Do they celebrate the 4th of July in Saudi Arabia?
I think it's the 5th over there.
Oh, okay. And then we had the Universal Championship match, the big rematch from WrestleMania in a steel cage. Brock Lesnar defending against Roman Reigns.
The big dog.
The big dog. Who I'm pretty sure they turned the audio down when he walked out because they didn't want to hear the boos.
He got booed. It was a better reaction and more mixed than normal, but he got booed pretty good when they did.
It's pretty bad when fucking Saudi Arabia is booing Roman Reigns. Because I guarantee you, they only get what the WWE shows them. Like, they have to know, like, at this point, right? They have to.
Yeah, but the idea was, like, you know, people were thinking they were going to put it on the belt on Reigns and he'd have a more receptive crowd, and it was not a more
Nope.
No.
Because guess what? No one wants to cheer fucking Roman. He's boring.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this match, I don't even know what to say about, but I guess we can just jump right in with 4 German suplexes. So basically every other match that these guys have had, you're going to get the same thing. 4 German suplexes, F5, and then Reigns completely, well, he escapes the next F5 and basically no sells and runs wild, throws, he's doing Superman punches, running around like nothing happened to him. So just to begin this match, it was like, okay, they're just gonna do the stuff that we think we wanted.
This cool. Was a finisher fest. There was no story.
None.
There was no build up. There was no psychology. This was, let's get all of our good shit out of the way. Roman did nothing but a powerbomb, Superman punches, and spears.
Plus, Roman spent a lot of the time trying to escape.
Yeah.
As the face.
The conquering baby who's going to take it to Brock Lesnar is trying to escape the cage.
And Lesnar had so many chances he could have just walked out of there. Even at the beginning, he F5'd him and he was down for the count, and he decided to go for pins instead of throughout the match instead of trying to escape.
And then, Roman tries to escape, and Paul Heyman slams the door in his face, tosses a chair to Brock, and Brock, Roman goes crazy with the chair, and then decides, this chair isn't good enough, I'm gonna punch you with my fists instead, which makes no goddamn sense.
Still, that's very babyface.
Oh, I know, but it's stupid though.
What do you expect Sting to do?
Yeah, exactly.
No. What if you want to make if it was Sting, he would have gotten the chair, thrown the chair away, and started
Yeah.
Or something.
Get a big show out of it.
And so he just does more Superman punches, and Lesnar's against the cage, and Roman spears him through the cage. And they took the nastiest bump.
Yeah, it was brutal.
Onto the floor. Like, my God, was this bad.
It looked, well, Lesnar lands first, and it looks like a rough landing.
Yeah.
And then he had that split second, and then Roman drives his shoulder into his midsection and just blows the air right out.
And Roman landed almost like right on top of his head.
Yeah, he looked like he could have broke his neck. It was scary stuff.
Don't ever do this fucking spot again. It looked cool, but it was incredibly dangerous, and for this match, fucking stupid to have this be the finish. So the commentators had to do everything they can to make it like, oh well, Lesnar was out of the cage and hit the ground first, even though we've heard time and time again your feet have to hit the fucking floor first. and Roman's feet hit the floor first.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah,
It was kind of confusing, and that didn't help. And here's the thing with Reigns. Not only does he have the stigma of constantly being a loser in big matches, but now you did the whole face costing himself a match deal.
Yeah.
Spearing the guy through the cage, costing himself a match. So now he's an idiot in addition to being a loser. So not a whole lot to get behind there.
I hate this spot so much where they did it before in TNA. I don't know if you guys remember this.
Bobby Roode, yeah.
Jamie Storm and Bobby Roode, yeah. Love that feud. And James Storms win the match, and he super kicks Roode, and Roode falls through the fucking door. And it's just like, the babyface is a fucking idiot because he just cost himself the match.
And that killed James Storm's push.
Yeah. And just like, my God, was it bad. This was worse than Mania.
I'm gonna break from what you got, your negativity a little bit, because this didn't bother me as much as it think it did you guys. I think a few things. So the referee, what helped, there wasn't a referee on the outside, which I think helped.
No, there was.
Well, the referee on the inside was the one that called.
Okay.
Called it, so I think that helps. Where it's like, he must have landed first.
Okay.
Also, I mean, earlier in the match, Lesnar's getting thrown against the cage, so maybe you could say like Reigns didn't know that this was actually going to happen.
Right. Well, no, I would certainly hope that Roman didn't know it was going to happen.
Right, but to save his, from being an idiot.
Yeah.
And also, I've heard, it's been reported that most of the guys in the back, the commentators, they didn't know who was going to win this match. And so when that finish happened, a lot of them were legitimately scrambling, like, oh, his feet touched first. Which, if they probably would have told him, like, this is the finish, the guys could have said, like, oh, I think that their Roman Reigns might have an argument here, and played it up like that was what was supposed to happen.
They did a little bit like
they did try to save it.
And here is my thought of how they could salvage this: is if this is how Roman turns heel, where it's like, I was out of the cage first, my feet touched the ground first. I got screwed by the stupid officials. I keep getting screwed by this company, and blah 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 blah. You're putting me in the ring with a guy who doesn't take the wellness test. Shoot a little bit, And this is how you turn him heel. He turns him into a guy who, like, I'm just going to fucking start killing everyone because that's how I'm going to get what I want.
They're never going to do that.
No.
I know.
We have this exact same conversation after every...
I know. But maybe once they'll actually fucking do it. The definition of insanity, do the same thing over and over again and expect different results.
Vince is insane.
Yeah, that's clear. But
that's the problem we have.
I'm hoping that maybe they'll finally fucking realize, like, hey, this Roman Reigns babyface thing ain't working. Let's change the fucking tune.
They've got to move him away from the main spot. Is the first thing they need to do, which they might be doing, maybe.
The problem with this finish, a big problem I have with this finish, is that if he doesn't turn heel and then he does still complain that he was screwed because his feet landed first, nobody is going to be sympathetic to him. You've had every opportunity in the world. Stop making excuses if you're a babyface.
Also,
you got to be clean at Mania.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that Samoa Joe, his entire promo packages leading up to their match at Backlash was, Roman, you keep blowing your shot. You can't win the big one. And then Roman doesn't win the big one. It's like, how many times do you need to give Roman the chance to prove that he's the big dog? And the big dog keeps coming up short.
Right.
And I think people expected a title change here. Like I said, they thought, because they were waiting for like a more receptive crowd to do the title switch, and he lost again.
Yeah.
So
It's shit or get off the pot time. Either give him the fucking belt, or better yet, don't give him the belt and do something better with the guy. But do something. Do you think they're keeping the belt on Lesnar just so Lesnar can break Punk's reign?
I don't know if that was originally the plan, but I think that they're not. I don't think that that's something that they would be against at this point.
I don't think so either. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I don't think they care, in all honesty. I think eventually they want to get it out of the way just to like be able to not mention it anymore. Kind of like with was it Brie that held the belt, the Divas title for so many days to break AJ's reign?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. I don't remember.
Who cares? The belt rings are interchangeable.
Yeah.
So what did you give this match, Justin?
I didn't really give a shit about it, so it was kind of like it was. The pace was pretty good. They did a lot of stuff in that short period of time, but again, there was no creativity. It was the same match they had with 5 minutes shaved off it.
Okay.
So I gave it like 2.5 maybe.
Okay.
Didn't like it though.
And then we get the Greatest Royal Rumble. I have not watched this yet. I know the results and I know basically the big moments, but
The biggest moment.
which is Titus O'Neil falling.
Wait.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't jump to that yet. That's
So Luke, I'm gonna let you run this one.
okay. I don't know how in depth you want me to be, but I got all the numbers here. So, so we started out with Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler, and obviously they're the workhorses of this match throughout. Sin Cara's out third. He has a great mask, by the way, in this. I've never seen him look this good. Curtis Axel comes out after this, and he's on the ramp trying to like get over, and his music ends, so he's just gotta like haul ass to the ring. It's so funny.
Oh my god! I now instantly want to go watch this match.
And then
they basically did like the Oscars to him.
basically, well, everybody was supposed to only get like a short song, so you're supposed to run to the ring. Well, he was trying to get over and didn't work out.
What a fucking mark.
So then Mark Henry comes in, gets rid of Axel. Kanellis comes out
Henry.
next, and yeah, Kanellis is looking great. He is in great shape, but then
I've seen him in.
What's that?
I think it's the best shape I've seen him in. He looks lean.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And he is immediately eliminated. I think he broke the record.
The record's 1 second, so
I mean, it was like bang. It was real quick.
He took a little bit longer to fall, like off the actual ring.
Okay.
So maybe it was a little longer, but yeah.
Next we get Hiroki Sumi, who is a sumo wrestler, big, fat dude.
I had no idea who this was.
I know.
His ring name will now just be Big Fat Dude.
Comes out in like the
Because it was like, who's this
diaper.
guy? Did they see him walking around somewhere? And they're just like, hey, you want to be in the show? We need an extra spot. So
That's what it seemed like, because
yeah.
it was weird, because like Henry came out, and then this guy comes out, and they're trying to be like, oh my god, look how impressive he is. And he gets in there, and he's just this fat, sloppy dude standing next to Mark Henry.
WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry.
Yeah, exactly. So they do. There's a little spot that they do, and then eventually Henry just eliminates him. And then Henry gets eliminated by Dolph and Bryan. Next we get Victor. He gets dragged out by Bryan. We get Kofi, Tony Nese, Dash Wilder, and then Hornswoggle's in next.
I heard Hornswoggle got a big pop.
He did get a big pop, surprisingly enough.
Apparently midgets are over in Saudi Arabia.
It's his shtick. They love it.
Okay.
Then we get Dash is eliminated, Swoggle's eliminated.
You forgot. I'm just reading them. Primo.
Yeah, he's next.
And he blew a spot.
Yeah, he's number 13. He comes in and immediately tries to do a springboard off the second rope. Goes right through him as to grab the ropes. Amazing. Xavier Woods comes in, and they have a really cool spot. I don't know, Justin, if you might be able to explain it better than me, because I had a hell of a time trying to write this down. But
I don't know if I remember it that well. I remember he somehow went over the rope, ended up on Xavier Woods' back, and he kind of piggybacked him up to the top.
Yeah,
rope.
so it's like a backpack, and Xavier is holding onto the ropes. Kofi's on his back, and someone's trying to like push him off. It's really great.
Oh man, that's awesome.
And then they climb up to the top rope, and
impressive show of strength by Xavier there.
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Climbing up onto the top, and then we get Kofi jumps off his back and does a big splash.
It was a cool spot. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And then Nese tries to dance with the New Day, and they trick him, and then they throw him out.
I guess they don't like white people.
Yeah, who does? Next
we don't even like ourselves.
No, God.
We don't like white people either. Anyway.
White people are the worst.
We are the worst.
So next we got Bo Dallas, followed by Kurt Angle.
Bo is so entered just a guy territory.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
He looks like a regular guy off the street now.
He does.
Yeah, the singlet does him no favors.
No, he looks like Chad Gable's older, less in shape brother.
He looks like Roman Reigns.
He looks like CZW's Rhino.
I meant Bray Wyatt. He's Bray's brother. Why did I think he was Roman's brother?
No, Rosie was Roman's brother.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I meant Bray Wyatt's less in shape brother.
Imagine Bray Wyatt trying to have this like scary call with Bo Dallas, and it's like, we're gonna get you. Just...
He did that. They did the creepy cult thing, and he was doing the Bo Leave thing. That would be over.
That would be hilarious.
I would love it. Like, you need to Bo Leave in Sister Abigail.
Yeah, that would be good shit. Let's do it.
My God, let's book that. Let's book it now. It's amazing.
So Angle comes in next, 16, and he immediately gets rid of Bo, and he does a belly-to-belly to Ziggler over the top and eliminates him. So that was a pretty cool spot.
Yeah.
Angle, man, every match he's looking more and more rough. Like, running down the ramp, I was like, oh, jeez, careful, Bo.
I thought he looked a little more explosive in this match than he had with, like, just the way he was popping off with suplexes looked a little better.
Yeah,
but
those were.
His one leg, he can barely stand on it. So.
Yeah, it's rough. He's looking rough. But next we had Scott Dawson came in, followed by Goldust and Connor from the Ascension.
All the big boys.
Yeah.
He is huge.
Yeah.
He is a big lad.
Number 20, we get Elias, and he plays himself in, asks the crowd who wants to walk with Elias.
It was over.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Michael Cole putting him over huge because he's like his boy.
Guitars are very popular in Saudi Arabia. A little known fact.
Elias had a good showing today, actually.
Yeah.
On the show.
Yeah, he did. And then, like, he fakes that he's going to play this long song, and then he runs and jumps in the ring and eliminates Kofi, Xavier, and Connor all in one.
Nice.
Yep.
Number 21 is Luke Gallows. And then this was awesome. We got Bryan versus Angle just going at it in the middle of the ring, you know, the dream match.
They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
And then Angle gets eliminated by Elias.
They better do it before Angle completely falls apart, though.
Yeah, the sooner the better.
So, like, 6 months.
Within,
If
that.
If that.
Next is Rhino comes in.
Rhino is growing wider with each appearance.
It's so strange.
He is massive.
He's like,
he doesn't grow out like with his stomach. He grows out with like his shoulders and.
Yeah, he's like becoming more square.
He's like, remember like that era in PWG when Brian Cage was just like a mass of body parts. Just like that's Rhino.
But it's
ton of
all,
better shit. Yeah.
It's all widening.
Yeah,
it's very strange. He's like a piece of toast now. It's strange.
Yeah, he is.
But then following was Drew Gulak, and then number 24 is Tucker Knight from Heavy Machinery in NXT. And they had a cool spot. Him and Gulak, Knight does a vertical suplex that gets switched over into a rear naked choke, and then Gulak gets dumped out. Number 25 is the glorious one, Bobby Roode.
Roode.
And he eliminates Goldust. Dawson gets eliminated by Roode. It was a terrible elimination. So Roode does a slingshot, and it looked like basically Dawson had to do all the work, and so it's one of those ones where like they can't sit up, so he's like has crunch and then jump, and then hits the post and falls out, and then the commentary team does him no favors, like, oh, it looks like he eliminated himself.
Oh God, fucking it. Like the commentators, that's the thing. Like sometimes, more often than not, like when a guy fucks up, the commentators are just like, well, we don't want to look like idiots by trying to cover up for him, so we're just gonna bury him.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you can't cover, but sometimes it's like you should try.
Yeah,
you know?
try. Yeah.
But I thought I even made note of this is like the commentators at this point in the night, they were just having fun. Like even like Byron and Cole and all them, they're just laughing and having a good time.
Yeah.
Well, 5-hour show, I can't say I blame them.
Right.
Yeah, they might be a little slap happy at that point, actually.
I think they were.
Yeah.
Next we had Fandango, followed by Gable, who hit an electric chair on Tucker Knight, which was impressive as hell. Number 28 is Rey Mysterio, coming out in his Saudi Arabia garb. Sorry, what was that?
Awesome.
Yeah, he did look good.
He was doing shit I haven't seen him do since like WCW Cruiserweight Division days.
He's ready for that one last run with WWE.
I mean, it was some of the stuff I have never seen him do. It looks a lot like he learned this stuff from the guys from Lucha Underground, you know?
I just want to note this before I forgot about it, but Kalisto did Dragon Azteca Jr.'s finisher. The throw-up DDT, the pop-up.
Yeah.
So,
So next we got Mysterio. He eliminates Gallows, and then we get the big guy, the Mojo Rawley, everybody's favorite wrestler, and he eliminates Fandango. Next is Tyler Breeze. Basically, Fandango stands outside, and Breeze gets pushed off the apron. Fandango catches him, puts him back in the apron, and then he gets pushed off again. So
a lot of tag team guys who didn't get their tag team partner at the same time in this match.
Yeah, it was weird. Because usually, like, remember back in like the original Royal Rumbles, it was like one right after the other.
It's completely at random.
Which actually kind of works because then you get the team ups and stuff, and it adds some interesting dynamics to it. But the most we got was, I think, the New Day. 2 members of the New Day were together, but that's about it, really. Yeah.
So next we get Big E, and he pulls out the pancakes and starts chucking them at Tucker. Big ending on Tucker, and he gets eliminated. Next we get Carl Anderson, and I think I mentioned this earlier, but Carl Anderson is in crazy good shape right now. He's looking good.
Best shape I've seen him in ever.
Yeah. He's definitely lost a lot of like mass, but he is cut. Next we get Apollo Crews. He hits his standing moonsault and tosses Gable out. And then my boy's coming in next. We got Roddy Strong.
Roddy!
And he goes backbreaker crazy. Right
Roddy was a house of fire during his whole time in there.
Yeah.
Did they mention, like, or did they show it on the screen about him chopping the hell out of Bryan's chest?
I don't think you really ever know that it was him.
Okay.
Because like at this point, Bryan was in the match for a long time, and so the commentators were like, "Oh my God, he's been in here so long. Look at his chest."
Yeah. There was a video that got posted to WWE's whatever, and Bryan basically said like, "Oh yeah, me and Roddy haven't seen each other since like 2009. So the first time he sees me in the ring, he chops my chest and he does this, and that's why his chest was so fucked up because it was Roddy."
Oh, that's amazing.
Which is awesome because
I've just heard that in general, if you haven't taken those chops in a long time, like they're gonna fuck you up.
I bet.
And I imagine Roger just being an old friend of Bryan was just like, "I'm gonna chop the shit out of this guy." Welcome back. The best part about what's that?
You got to keep your friends in line a little bit.
Oh yeah, and like the best thing is like Bryan was like so happy about it after the match. Like he was smiling ear to ear, like, "Oh yeah, it's great to see Roddy again."
Earned him on that one. So Roddy runs wild, and he eliminates Texas Toast Rhino.
New nickname right there.
And they mentioned Rhino. They laughed about Rhino having fallen asleep on the locker room floor.
Yeah.
He said when Rhino came out.
Yeah, he fell asleep on the locker room floor earlier in the day.
Yeah, as soon as he comes out.
So next was Randy Orton, and he eliminates Anderson, Mojo, Cruz. He hit Cruz with a sloppy RKO. There was Heath Slater comes out next. Number 37 is Baba Tunde. He's the guy from NXT. He's working with what's that guy's name?
Leo Rush?
Yeah, Leo Rush.
Okay.
He is huge.
He's
I didn't
massive.
realize how big this guy is.
Yeah, he's like 6'10".
Strowman.
Yeah, he's taller than Strowman. It was crazy.
It's crazy. Huge.
Yeah. Baron Corbin comes out next. He eliminates Strong and Rude. And then we have the greatest entrance of the greatest Royal Rumble.
Shockmaster has passed the torch.
Titus O'Neil. And I'm just like watching this, like, okay, Titus O'Neil, and he's running to the ring, and all of a sudden, like, they cut to the ring, and then they cut back, and you just see you just see Titus O'Neil's feet. Like, what the hell? Yeah, like, what the hell happened? And all the commentators were like, "Did I just see that? What was that?" And then they show the full thing. They show the replay, and he comes running out, trips on the mats outside, and goes like 8 feet, flying first right under the ring.
He slid in the ring like he was sliding into someoe's DMs.
Oh my God! And they played like 6 replays,
dude. No, but like, can we just say something? He is lucky to be okay, because if there was that LED screen there, he'd have been dead. Yeah. If there's anything underneath the ring
frame. the ring frame comes to about just like a third of the way down. So if he would have been like 6 inches or a foot higher, he would have crushed his head.
Oh my god! It was.
I still what he even tripped on. He just took he was going along fine.
He tried to stop, and like he had so much momentum.
I think his foot caught on the mats just at the end of the ramp.
Have you guys seen like all the videos about this? Like,
no, I just kind of saw this.
Oh, there's been so many.
I can't wait to.
My personal favorite is the fact that they show a clip of him from NXT season 2.
Oh,
where he tripped with doing the keg run.
Yeah, the commentators were actually they brought that.
They
up.
did. Oh my god,
like they wouldn't let him. Michael Cole went on like a tirade about how this was the greatest moment in Royal Rumble history.
It might be.
He like listed off all the accolades of Austin.
I couldn't speak for about 5 minutes after this too.
It was so.
They just could not cover for him at all. They just had to.
Oh man.
It was so. I mean, this is an all-time great botch. Like of the top 5 greatest botches I've ever seen.
He's the new Shockmaster botch.
He is the new Shockmaster. This will make the intro of Botchamania from now on. Gary,
I hope so.
Just amazing.
It was the best part about it. It was like you expected nothing from Titus O'Neil, and he gave you so much.
Thank you, Titus.
Thank you, Titus.
But I heard rumor is that like Vince McMahon was laughing so hard he was almost in tears.
I heard.
He kept running the replay, and then when Titus got backstage, he shook his hand.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm ready for a push, brother. He's ready.
He's ready, brother.
What are the odds of them doing like some angle on Raw where Titus trips or something like that?
Almost 100%.
That's gonna be the new gimmick. Is just Titus keeps tripping.
He trips on everything.
So trying to get back to this match here. So number 40 is some bald greenhorn from NXT. I didn't catch his name.
Dan Matha.
Okay, yeah. This guy comes in and
green is goose shit.
What's that?
Green is goose shit.
No kidding. So this guy runs in, and everybody else is kind of, you get your shit in, you get a couple moves in. He runs right to the corner and starts stomping somebody in the corner. It's like, you're dead, dude. Nobody cares. Next is Braun, and the crowd goes ape for him, obviously. Throws out Babatunde, bald, greenhorn, Big E, Slater. And then Ty Dillinger is number 42. So they didn't do number 10 this time.
That is shocking.
Yeah.
The gimmick is dead.
They all go after Strowman. Strowman throws out Titus and Dillinger. We get 619 RKO on Braun.
That looked awesome, by the way.
I thought so, yeah. That did look sweet. Corbin eliminates Ray. Orton gets rid of Corbin. Elias immediately throws out Orton. Number 43, we got Kurt Hawkins. And this, I enjoyed this spot. He tried to run away. Like, he never got in the ring. He just tried to run away. And Braun gets out of the ring and chases him. And then drags him back to the ring.
Braun chasing people down is so entertaining. Every time.
And then he just beats him up and throws him out. It was great.
Nice.
Number 44, we get Bobby Lashley. He runs in and he runs wild on Elias. He botches sidewalk slam, says fuck it, and throws him out.
Bigger box a little later.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
And then Brian, he gets back in and he's doing the dropkick spot to Braun and Bobby Lashley. And we get number 45, the Great Khali. He comes out. He's throwing chops around, his big spots, getting his shit in.
It took him about 15 minutes to get to the ring.
I know, they almost started the clock again before he got his ass in the ring.
Well, they even said he's lumbering to the ring. Is how they described it. Which
Get
is
him one of
very
those.
accurate.
Why didn't they have golf carts for his bit?
You gotta earn your spot, brother.
And he took a nasty fall when he got eliminated, too.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I was like, he's probably going to think twice about getting back in the ring after that.
Yeah, I think he's ready to hang it up.
Yeah.
So number 46, we get Kevin Owens. And at this point, Daniel Bryan sets the record for the longest time in any Royal Rumble.
Yep.
And number 47, we get Shane O'Mac. And this is his first Royal Rumble, which I was actually... This is what they said. I was like, really? It kind of blew my mind.
What? It actually, yeah, it is. Because he's been involved in them plenty of times, but he's never actually been in one.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, that is, wow. That is insane. I did not realize that.
Then we get Shelton Benjamin at number 48. And
no fear whatsoever.
I love this next spot where there's a bunch of guys in the ring, Braun's in the corner, and Owens just starts shouting at everybody. He's like, "We gotta get him out! We gotta get him out!" And everybody's just like staring, and then he just starts running at Braun like, "We gotta get him out!" That was great. So everybody jumps on Braun. Then we get number 49, Big Cass, which obviously no one popped for that. But what I loved, I thought Bryan did a great job. He steps out into the middle of the ring and he starts calling for him. He's like, "This is great." He's like, "It looks awesome." And so we're like, "Oh, they're really gonna play this up." And here comes Cass. He's running in. He runs into the ring, and as soon as he gets in the ring, Braun like hulks up and throws everybody off of him. And so they smash into Cass and completely ruin his spot.
I saw that, and it was fucking incredible. I feel bad for Big Cass.
What a return.
Because Cass is like, "Oh, good on Bryan. He's going to make me look so good." All right, man, let's do this. Oh, Jesus fucking hell.
That was great.
I wonder if Braun felt bad at all about that.
I hope not. That was amazing.
He shouldn't feel bad about that.
Oh, man.
Well, then, of course, Shane has to start getting crazy, and he does the coast to coast, which is like a staple of his matches now.
Right,
he can't not do it. He does it on Strowman, and then number 50, which, like we mentioned before, we thought was supposed to be a big shock, is Chris Jericho, and Owens is standing in the ring basically by himself at this point, and he's like shocked and he's mad and angry, and he turns and you can see him, he's like beside himself, like, and he even says, he shouts at him, "Why are you here?" So I'm like, oh, this is a big shocker.
No, they had announced it.
Unbelievable.
He should not have announced that.
No, they shouldn't. Jericho was actually mad that they announced it. He's like, "I wanted it to be a surprise," and they announced it. Because they're fucking idiots.
Yeah. And so we get the lion salt on Owens, and next we get Shelton eliminated. Jericho gets the walls on Owens, and I love this part because he's shouting, "Ask him! Ask him!" And then we get Lashley. He's here to redeem himself. He picks up Cass, and he goes for a vertical suplex, and he wants to do that stalling one.
Yeah.
And he can't hold him, so he lets him down a little bit, and he's like, no, we're doing it. And he gets him back up, and then he just drops him straight on his head, like brain buster.
I saw it. It looked bad.
That was nasty. And then we get the huge spot where Shane gets up to the top rope, and here comes Braun. Goozled him, and choke slams him off the top rope through the announce table, and it looks awesome. Like, it looks amazing.
That is awesome.
But Shane is a madman. Like,
of course he is. He's surprised at this point.
I think Shane has been trying to kill himself this whole time, and we've just been letting it happen. He's just like, he has a serious death wish.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And so Lashley gets eliminated. Jericho and Owens eliminated. Cass eliminates Bryan. And then we're just left with Cass and Braun. They fight a little bit, and then Cass gets crushed on the top rope, and then Braun just gives him a shoulder tackle, and that's the finish. It was good. The crowd seemed to, which was crazy. The crowd stayed into this match pretty much through the entire thing.
It was 77 minutes long.
Which, that's crazy.
Bryan went an hour and 16 minutes.
Which, I don't know. It's weird because remember before he had to retire, they were running him 2 matches a night, longest matches on the card, and it's like they bring him back and they immediately put him in that position. It's like maybe protect him a little bit, but
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
But it's cool. It's a cool thing that he got to break a record. Don't ever have him do it again, but
yeah. He didn't do anything overly dangerous, I didn't think. There's a couple times he landed a little hard or whatever, but nothing that concerned me too much. But that's a long time to wrestle for anybody, especially when you're just coming back.
Right, and I mean, I'm sure that his sleep schedule and everything was weird being over there, and yeah, it's just a lot to ask out of somebody.
Yeah.
And then, following the match, we get the trophy and title ceremony.
Title looked really cool, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got a weird. It's got like a impact. Or no, it's a Global Force Wrestling green.
It's the Impact title they just stole.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and then that pretty much closes out the show, and then we get the freaking closing ceremony of the Olympics level fireworks. Jesus. But yeah, I mean that pretty much wrapped it up. They had a video package, kind of like WrestleMania style, at the end of the show where they just wrapped everything up with music, showed you clips of everything. But that was it. That closed the show.
Yeah. It wasn't obviously one of the better Rumbles. I think it was good enough for what they were trying to do with it. It was at least consistently entertaining. There wasn't a lot of like holy shit moments, but there was like enough that it, at 77 minutes, it didn't feel that long. So.
Yeah, I agree. And I think what was nice about it is like they kept people coming in. It was much faster than like 2 minutes or 1 minute even. I mean, they just kept everybody coming. So it never felt like it slowed way down. There weren't any, I mean, there was a few big spots, but for the most part, it was just like the action relied on there constantly being new people entered into the match. But yeah, I'm curious to hear how you would rate this as a match.
I gave it 3 1/4. I mean, it was good. But again, it's nothing I'm really gonna remember when I look back at like Royal Rumbles. It was not the greatest Royal Rumble.
And it's a shame that Braun won and he didn't flip the ring over to do it.
Oh man, we gotta have it at some point.
Yeah. I think it also shows that they have a lot of investment in Braun, that he won the greatest Royal Rumble. I am fully on the Braun Strowman train. I was not at first, but he has proven to be a guy who knows what he is and what he wants to be, and plays the role extremely well, and certainly have made me a fan of him. And I hope that they realize what they have in this guy and start pushing him accordingly. At the same time, I do like Bryan going almost the distance. That's really cool. And if you're gonna have someone do it, Bryan is the guy to do it because he can do that. He has that stamina and that ability. But at the same time, they even managed to further his feud with Big Cass by having Cass eliminate him. Yeah. Have you seen the Backlash hype the video or the match vignette or whatever for?
No, I haven't.
Basically, it's Daniel Bryan versus Big Cass, and Daniel Bryan's the D in Bryan or Daniel Bryan is really big, and then for Big Cass the C is really big, so it just looks like big ass. Did no one read that? It's kind of like the Great Balls of Fire. Did no one look at this before realizing what it looked like?
That's his gimmick now. When his head was obscuring the sea.
Yes, my God, that was amazing.
SummerSlam. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I thought overall it wasn't as painful as I expected. Certainly, when I heard it was going to be such a big, long show, it didn't feel that long. A lot of the matches were pretty short, except for the main event, obviously. But I enjoyed it. It was very easy to watch. It had a variety of stuff. Yeah. I actually probably liked it a little more than Mania, to be honest.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed Mania more for the match quality, but this was fun to have as something in the background that I wasn't. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't 100% pay attention to this whole thing, just because I knew that it was a glorified house show, but it was fun to sit through, and honestly, I wouldn't mind if they did something like this again. Maybe this becomes a normal thing where they just have a Greatest Rumble every year. I don't know, maybe that's a bad idea.
Well, I mean, they spoke about the 2030 plan a lot during this show, which they didn't get into a lot of detail, but it sounds like they wanted to establish more of a foothold in the region.
They've
So
already announced they're going to be coming back there in November.
So yeah, so basically, we might be able to expect something like that,
Yeah.
especially with there being a title belt and stuff like that.
And honestly, like, it's fine to make it like a house show thing, and and like.
Well, I don't know. I thought that this was. I agree with Justin that I thought this was better than Mania for the most part, and I think the spectacle of it too, like, was part of what they were trying to push more than anything. Because this felt like a massive event, like. The scope of it, I just kept being blown away. Like, the amount of fireworks that they set off was incredible. The amount of people that they funneled into this building, and they were able to keep the crowd hot almost the entire night, give or take a few matches. But for such a long show, they were into it. I enjoyed it throughout. I did. To be fair, I watched it over a 2-day period, which I would recommend. But yeah, I was all for it. Really enjoyed this show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything to add before we wrap up for the night?
I don't think so.
All right.
No, do you guys have? Yeah, Justin, did you rate the show or?
I did not actually rate the show. I'd probably give it like a 7.
Okay.
Out of 10. Yeah. Wasn't too bad. Better than I expected.
Yeah. I enjoyed it for the most part. I still think Mania was better just because the best match on Mania was better than the best match here, and that for me plays a lot into it. But like, this was certainly easier to sit through, as opposed to the 7 hours of WrestleMania that hit that point of like, okay, we're done. The crowd's done. Like, how are you gonna get us back? And you didn't do it.
Right.
So, all right. Well. Thank you guys once again for joining us. That is episode 2. It's in the books. And we'll be back probably another 2 weeks or so for another episode.
You guys got anything you need to plug?
Oh, yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at Alex Kalil, AlexKalil. For whenever I post anything important, I'll be on there.
I got nothing right now. Stay tuned.
All right, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Luke and the Beanstalk, but it's LVKE and the Beanstalk. Mostly non-wrestling related, so don't get your hopes up.
All right. Thank you guys all for joining us. Take care. Bye.